What is up, ladies and gentlemen? What is up? What is up? What is up? And like always, thank you guys for taking time out to watch this live. I greatly appreciate it. Before I even get into what I want to say, make sure to take some time out. Check out the link in the description if you're watching from your cell phone. Yeah, if you're watching from your phone, check out the link in the description. Even if you're watching from your tablet, check out the link in the description. You'll find everything there. And if you're watching from your laptop, make sure to take your phone out. Go on ahead, pull your phone out, and scan that QR code. As you can tell, tonight we're going to get into a little bit more of an intimate topic. Um, these are kind of topics that I rarely talk about, really. But as of lately, I have been working with April Rivas, the founder of the Narcissist Journals, and it's been getting me to open up a lot about relationships and things like that. And I really want to start off by saying, or just really making a statement by asking the question: you ever been in a moment where you said something, it was calm, it was direct, it was clear, and a response you got back was, why are you being so aggressive? Go on ahead, drop a comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts on this. If you ever had that question been asked you, because I have been asked that question before, and I noticed that from my own experience, I wasn't yelling, I wasn't being disrespectful, and in general, it was just you being you. In my situation, it was me being me, right? Ambulance going off. I kind of live right next to the fire station. But yet and still, now you're sitting there confused because in your mind, you were just really communicating, right? And like I was saying, I've been there. I've walked away from conversations thinking, did I say something wrong? Or did they hear something that wasn't there? And then it gets even deeper because I've also seen a man lose a woman, not because he cheated, not because he didn't care, but because he couldn't provide stability. And I've also seen people walk away from what they needed just to chase what they wanted. So now we're dealing with two things at once. You're being misunderstood, and at the same time, you're being measured. So let's get one thing straight, all right? No capping, no bullshit. Excuse me. I don't want to get flagged for cursing, but no BS. This isn't just about communication. This isn't just about personality. This is about systems, perception, and priorities as well. And if you don't understand the system, you'll keep trying to fix something that was never broken to begin with, while ignoring the things that actually are broken. So, I guess I can try and frame it like this because there was a time in this country where black men had to be labeled a certain way to justify control. And that wasn't as a leader, it wasn't as a thinker, but it was to be perceived as a threat. And that didn't disappear, it evolved. Now it sounds like you're too intense, or you're too intimidating, you're aggressive. In reality, it's the same system, different language, yet and still the same outcome. So now when you speak with clarity, when you stand on what you say, when you don't fold, you're not just being heard, you're being interpreted when you really think about it. And that interpretation isn't always about you. Now, there is a layer to masculinity, a pretty big layer to masculinity that we need to get into, because this is where pressure tends to multiply. As a man, right? Your value tends to get tied to your output, how much you make, how stable you are, what you can provide. Now, if you try to combine that with perception, if you're not financially where people think you should be and your tone is direct, now you're not just aggressive, you're aggressive and not even established. And if you really take a step back and look at the whole, it's a dangerous combination in how people judge you. So now you got men out here, trying to build, trying to survive, trying to become something from nothing, and still getting misunderstood in conversations and undervalued in relationships too. Let me just tack that on there too. So I guess now let's talk about relationships, because this is where everything tends to collide. People will sit in your face and say that they want love, but let's just be honest. A lot of people choose want over need. A need is stability, consistency, respect, growth. But when it comes to want, a want is excitement, attention, validation, shit. Even try not to curse, I don't want to get flagged, but even temporary feelings, right? And to me, this is the problem, because wants feel better in the moment, needs hold you down in reality. So now you got a man, right? Ladies, now you got a man. He's building. He's consistent. He's not perfect. He's changing slowly. In other words, he's progressing, right? But he doesn't feel exciting enough. So meanwhile, someone else shows up, more flashy, more unpredictable. But what they're doing is they fulfill a want. So they get chosen. And later, when things fall apart, now it's, I just want peace. I just want something real. You see, that was available. It just didn't feel good at the time. So again, ladies, let me bring women into this conversation with respect and clarity, okay? Because some women, fellas, some women aren't trying to misunderstand you. What they're doing is they're trying to feel safe. But if someone has been conditioned through experience, media, trauma, even to associate your presence with intensity, then even you being calm, your calmness can even feel aggressive to them. Now, if we combine that with choosing want over need, they may emotionally lean towards what feels good, even if it's unstable, right? All while interpreting your stability as pressure. And that's not always rejection. In reality, it's really just misalignment. So I know a lot of people are probably out here asking, well, what do you do? What do I do? What should they do? One thing I could tell you is you don't shrink yourself. What's going on, Ashley? How you doing? Appreciate you following me. Thank you. So one thing you don't want to do is shrink yourself. Let me let this ambulance pass by. It gets kind of loud here sometimes. So again, you don't want to shrink yourself because that's what a lot of people consider to be weak. And in reality, it is weak. What you want to do is develop range. So in other words, you learn how to control your tone without losing your edge. Let me let this truck go by real quick. Again, you control your tone without losing your edge, right? You communicate clearly without triggering unnecessary bias. And not only that, read the room without abandoning yourself. And most importantly, here, right? You don't stop chasing people who prioritize wants over needs because you can't build long term with short term thinkers. You simply can't. So here's something you can apply immediately. Next time someone labels you, instead of reacting, ask, help me understand what specifically felt aggressive to you. Because now what you're doing is you've done three things there. You stayed in control, you created the clarity, and you even exposed whether it's your delivery perception. Again, you are not too aggressive. What you're doing is you're operating in a system that interprets your strength through a distorted lens. And at the same time, at the very same time, you're navigating relationships where people don't always choose what's best for them. They choose what feels good. So again, let me repeat this, what I said earlier. Your job is not to shrink. Your job is to master alignment. Alignment between who you are, how you communicate, and who you choose. Because when you control that aspect, you don't just talk better. You move different. You lead different. You win different. I think I'm gonna end it here. But yeah, so if you're serious, right? If you're really, really serious about your mindset, your money, and how you show up in relationships, tap in with me. Go on ahead, follow me, connect with me, subscribe to my channel, and don't just listen to this, apply it. Now, with that being said, go on ahead, pull your phone out, tap the link that's in the description. You'll find everything there. If you're watching from your laptop and you're not watching from your phone, you're watching from your laptop or you're watching from your desktop computer, pull out your phone, scan the QR code up there in the corner. You'll find everything there. But like always, guys, thank you for taking time out to watch this live. I greatly appreciate it. Deuce, this your man Shelby. I'm out, and y'all be easy.